Well, what we talk about in our paper sort of answers to this somewhat. When we talk about these two different approaches, this top-down version of kind of how we can go about engaging with people with climate change, and a much more bottom-up approach. Now, what I've focused on is, in my past research, is looking at bottom-up approaches to engaging people, which I guess is where you get these kind of direct action type approaches, and moving towards kind of getting some political movement, I guess. The top-down, which is where Dave's work comes in a lot more, is potentially where you'd see your kind of political action traditionally kind of stemming from. But we argue that these two approaches can kind of interact and work together, and we can see the synergies between them. And as we sort of say, we can see the need for both approaches to inform each other.
Based on research that I've done, which looked at the Labour government over the 10 years and their action on climate change and biodiversity, we interviewed a lot of people that had been in and around the Labour government over 10 years. And one of the biggest messages that came out was they understand the science, they want to bring in policy, but every time they move on climate change, they get negative backlashes. And there's a lot of fear within government around the kind of negative public backlashes against this kind of policy. So my argument was that maybe climate change communication should be reorientated. Instead of keep trying to kind of, get people to change their behaviour by communicating to them, why don't we use that communication to actually make the case that government legislation is going to drive this behaviour change? And then through a conversation with Saffron and Lorraine, we were talking about, that's not the end of the story. There's still, to a large extent, this need to engage people so that they feel empowered and able to do something as well, which is where a lot of Saffron's work on emotional engagement with climate change came into this.